Eddie Murphy proves you can't teach an old dog new tricks, nor can you make a proper legacy sequel anymore with Beverly Hills Cop Axel F., a Netflix original directed by Mark Malloy and its feature directorial credit, and written by 3 people. That's right, the 4th Beverly Hills Cop movie was written by 3 different people, who apparently all took turns being blackout drunk and then said, we got a good idea, let's honor it and pander it like this, and then like this, and let's bring this character back, and let's bring this character back, and bring new characters, and then pad this goddamn thing out with so much attempts at emotional drama that really it just feels like we're slapping you in the goddamn face and slapping you in the face. And actually this is less painful than watching Beverly Hills Cop Axel F., which I will say right now is better than Beverly Hills Cop 3, but I've shat things out better than Beverly Hills Cop 3. So nevertheless, in case you can't guess, I really didn't like this movie. Why didn't I like this movie? Let's find out. So, Mark Malloy, feature directorial credit. And by Christ, can you tell? It's always nice when people get a chance to make a big blockbuster movie. And Netflix poured $150 million into this, which basically is the same as the budget for the 3rd movie, adjusted for inflation. So you had 2 writers of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I think that's right. The Nicolas Cage, Pedro Pascal movie that actually was pretty goddamn entertaining. Also, Will Beal. This movie should have been bealed into the goddamn Pacific Ocean. Well, it said the Atlantic Ocean, but geographically that wouldn't have made any sense. You did Bad Boys 4. I will say this is better than Bad Boys 4, but that's not saying much. And Aquaman and other stuff. So Eddie Murphy returns as Axel Foley in a movie titled Axel F. Oh, God, the layers this movie has. This isn't very good. I didn't expect it to be good, and somehow it barely met those expectations. So, returning characters like Judge Reinhold, who played Billy, Don't Be a Hero, Rosewood, and John Taggart, played by John Ashton. Apparently, they didn't trust Ashton to remember another name, so they said, we're just going to give you the name now. Who would want to go by the name John? Hey, wait a second. That's my name. Not spelled the same. But also Paul Reiser, this is a horror movie, and also the guy that played Surge, whose name escapes me, I don't care. And new characters, Kevin Bacon, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Luis Guzman, and a few others. There's also Taylor Page, who plays Jane Saunders, who is the daughter of Axel Foley, who gets in a bind trying to basically solve a mystery before she and this one guy, Enriquez, or history. Beverly Hills Cop Tales, Axel F. Well, fuck it, whatever. I screwed that up. Woohoo. Let's just move on from that. So that's basically your lot right there. Eddie Murphy returns once again to Beverly Hills Cop, or Beverly Hills for the Beverly Hills Cop stuff, and he just continues to do what he does. Only he's older, and we go with the idea that maybe he's older and wiser. Look, him and Taylor have absolutely no chemistry. It's not that they're bad actors. I actually think Eddie Murphy has gotten a bit of a bad rap. I don't think he's necessarily perfect, but he's been better in some movies than he's been given credit for. And he also drew a bad hand when it came to some of these comedies. So, $150 million for this and some of terrible CGI, some terrible shootouts. Everything is by the numbers. I wonder if you can guess who is actually behind this whole goddamn thing. Look at the cast and then tell me before watching the movie if you could have guessed who is behind the goddamn thing. And if you guessed one particular person, you would have been right. Because it pretty much is just paint by the numbers, bingo card, cop drama bullshit. Some of the comedy works a little. This is better than 3. This is about on par with 2. It's not better than 1, I'll say that. And while I appreciate that the film was trying to bring the franchise back to its roots, by doing that, it also somehow managed to just remind us that the first one should have been a standalone movie, which wasn't all that good to begin with. And I retro-reviewed all those recently. So, we start off with Foley at a Red Wings game. He foils a robbery. We get a dump truck or a snowplow scene, where he's racing a snowplow, kind of like he raced a delivery truck before, all that stuff. And, then the stuff he did in the second one, it's basically just paying homage to all these past movies without having anything fresh to say. There's nothing wrong with following the beats and trying to have a little bit of fun, reminding us, hey, this is what these movies did. This is what this movie did. This is what fun we had. That's great. What else do you have? Because this movie's the longest of the franchise. I mean, maybe by just a few extra minutes, but it also feels like it's well over 2 hours with enough material for maybe 90 minutes. And, yeah, Judge Reinhold isn't given all that much to do, not that you expected it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who is a very good actor, is really kind of reduced to just being a generic cop with a couple parts of his history. And Kevin Bacon, after recently seeing Maxine, by the way, I saw a special screening of that. You can check out that review. Seeing that and this, well, at least he was given more to do in Maxine, because he wasn't given much to do here. And the thing about the case just totally gets nullified. There are just people, like, obviously in on the whole goddamn thing to stop this particular case of, like, drug smuggling and money and all that and whatever. None of it's fresh. None of the action scenes are good. It just doesn't work. There's a particular helicopter scene during the movie that actually made me laugh, because I'm like, this is supposed to be funny. And I just kept thinking, oh, Jesus, I wonder if this is how Kobe felt. But nevertheless, see, I feel bad about that. But the Denver hotel thing that nobody should forget about. So, yeah, they make the comments about everybody being older, not necessarily wiser. It was nice that John Ashton was back after scheduling conflicts prevented him from being part of the third movie. Ronnie Cox is not here. I think Ronnie Cox died, actually. If he didn't, I feel bad, but he looked like he was about 80 in the second one, so nevertheless. So yeah, after we get a little bit of setup, we just get long, drawn-out scenes. We get a bunch of heart-to-heart stuff with him and his daughter, which, yes, they have to play catch-up. We find out why things happen that way, and that would be great if these actors had any chemistry, and they don't. None of these characters feel like they're, they are wanting to interact with each other. I mean, maybe, okay, you could argue that Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, John Ashton might have had a little bit of fun on set, but even their characters just feel like, hey, remember what we did here before? Remember what we did? Yeah, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work at all. I mean, I didn't mind the woman that played the played the real estate agent. She was attractive, but I mean, that was really about it. She's been in a bunch of other stuff. You check out her IMDb page if you want. It's on Netflix if you want to check it out, if you are into that sort of thing, and let me know. But I'm going to get into spoilers because there's not much spoil, but I'm going to try to have some fun. 3, 2, 1, spoilers. It's Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon's behind the whole thing. If you didn't guess that by looking at the goddamn cast, I don't know what to fucking tell you. He's behind it because he's a corrupt cop. He's tired of, he's basically tired of, like, oh, cops not getting respect. I need more money. I can't even afford to live in the city that I got shot in. The opening scene with the snowplow chase scene just wasn't good. Paul Reiser is the new chief of police in Detroit. That explains so much. And yeah, they talk about their respective kids. Jeffrey's going to retire because Foley wrecked a whole bunch of shit. And there is this funny scene where Taylor, Jane who plays Jane, she is about to help this guy Enriquez, but then she gets some guys, break into her car and attach a cable to her car and basically tell her drop the case, or we're going to drop your car off the side of this parking garage, And it's just so funny because I know it's Beverly Hills. I know that California, the West Coast, does have quite a bit of crime. You're telling me that nobody would have made this clear? Like, hey, there's a car hanging here. We probably should call the police about this. No? Okay. And, yeah, Reinhold ends up getting captured and is basically out of like 80% of the movie. I guess they felt that he just couldn't carry the thing anymore. There was a chase with a meter lady hanging onto her little vehicle while Axel was trying to get away. They're doing the Neutron Dance was playing. The Heat Is On played in the beginning to remind you once again that the first movie did all this shit better. And yeah, we get some heart-to-heart stuff. Turns out that, Taylor and Joseph's characters actually were together, but she couldn't date a cop. And in the interim from, I assume, the third movie to now, even though she's 32, so technically he should have had a kid just before the events of the third movie. Unless we don't disregard the third movie because we actually do see case files and pictures of 84, 87, and 94. To remind you, by the way, that the third movie took, 7 goddamn years to be made. when it really should have come out in about 1990. It wouldn't have been any better, but it certainly couldn't have been any worse. So, yeah, Jane's pissed that he wasn't there. The villains are generic, Kevin Bacon especially, and I like Kevin Bacon. He is fucking tremendous, but he was not tremendous here. Billy basically knew about what Grant was doing. Taggart trained Grant, but he doesn't believe that he could be involved in that until he does believe he's in that. The realtor, Nassim Padrad, who again is attractive, I do want to say that. And she makes the most of her scene. There's more family arguing, enough of this. I mean, I get it. You don't want to just do one scene and be done, but when the first scene didn't work, you probably shouldn't keep going back to it, otherwise you're going to poison the well. And Luis Guzman is Enriquez's uncle. He's having a blast in this scene, I assume, or he was drunk. I mean, I would have had to have been drunk to be on this set, and I don't drink. But, so, Grant causes all this. There was a camera that was set up in this car that was used as part of this, as part of the crime and everything. And that's why various, cops and people were involved. That's why Enriquez was involved. That's why this guy Copeland was involved. We thought we knew him. Nobody that's not a wrestling fan will get that. And this is stupid. This is dragging a lot. They go to the docks and they rescue Judge Reinhold. And Rosewood gets it, you can never have enough firepower, channeling number 2 with Bridget Nielsen. I would have rather had Bridget Nielsen in this. Assuming she's still alive, I think she is. She would have been a better villain than the one they had here. And Axel basically gets shot trying to save Jane. Grant ends up dying. And then he's instantly out of the hospital, at a diner, not doing all that well, gets a burger, goes back to the hospital. And then we get one last scene with Taggart. Rosewood, Billy, don't be a hero, Rosewood, and Axel Foley, they're going to go get a steak. No, they're reunited, and it's so good, and it's not fucking good. It is not good at all. Like, again, if you're a big fan of the series, or the franchise, as you may enjoy it, I still prefer this over number 3, because at least it felt like it was trying to go back to basics. The problem is that it highlights the fact that the third movie was unnecessary, at least the way they did it. And the first movie itself was basic and hasn't aged well and wasn't that good. So yeah, this gets an F. Sorry. It's slightly above number 3, and it's right on par with number 2. Because number 2 is just more of what number 1 was, only done worse with more heavy-handed stuff hitting you in the head. And the stuff with the Dara just didn't work. I mean, I'm sorry, this just didn't. So F. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rentlin. I'll see you soon.